A morning that felt too quiet. The morning was pleasant. A cool breeze moved gently through the tall trees of Step Up University, carrying the quiet promise of a new day. Students walked past the gates in clusters, laughing, talking, complaining about classes, unaware that for someone like Rebecca Patricia Armstrong, silence had always been her companion. Becky adjusted the strap of her bag as she entered the university campus. Final year. Hospitality and hotel management. A mute girl with a sharp mind and quiet determination, Rebecca was the topper of her class, not because she wanted praise, but because she refused to let anyone believe she was less than anyone else. She was walking toward her classroom when a familiar voice broke into her peaceful thoughts. "Becky, you're here already?" Rebecca turned, and her face softened instantly. Irene, her best friend, her safe place, the only person who truly understood her silence. Irene grinned widely. "Does that mean I'm actually on time today?" Becky smiled and nodded, her eyes bright with amusement. She raised her hand and gently pointed toward their classroom, her fingers moving in a familiar, graceful rhythm. "Let's go to class." Irene understood instantly. She always did. "All right, topper," Irene teased. "Let's go." They walked in together and settled into their usual seats. Becky placed her notebook neatly on the desk, her pen aligned perfectly on top. Around them, students chatted endlessly, but Becky remained quietly observant, her attention always sharp. Moments later, their teacher entered. "Good morning, class." "Good morning, sir," the class replied in unison. Before starting the lecture, the teacher smiled and said, "Before we begin, I'd like to inform you all that Step Up University will be completing 12 years on the 27th of September." A soft murmur spread across the room. "Today is the 20th, he continued. "So there will be a grand function for our 12th anniversary, performances, activities, and celebrations. Participation is mandatory." As he spoke, Becky's mind drifted, uninvited, to a face she knew far too well. Sharp jawline, deep brown eyes, a powerful presence that silenced rooms without effort. Before she could stop herself, the image settled comfortably in her thoughts. Suddenly, a girl from the class stood up. "Sir, I want to ask something." "Yes? Will Miss Freen also be present?" The room instantly buzzed. The teacher nodded. "Of course. She's the owner of the university. She'll be there. And she'll be the chief guest." Another wave of whispers. The same girl hesitated, then asked, "But sir, she always leaves after her speech. She never stays longer." The teacher sighed lightly. "We can't force her. She has companies to manage." "All right. Enough questions. Let's begin today's topic." The lecture resumed, but Becky hadn't heard a single word. Beside her, Irene leaned closer and nudged her playfully. Becky turned to her. Irene smirked. "I know that look. Butterflies, right? Your crush, your love, is coming." Becky looked away instantly, cheeks warming. Irene continued teasing. "Last time you saw her was 3 months ago, at the dean's office, right?" Becky picked up her pen, pulled a small paper toward her, and wrote carefully. 3 months and 17 days. She slid the paper toward Irene. Irene's eyes widened. "God, Becky, you literally count the days?" Becky smiled faintly, lowering her gaze. How could she not? Freen Sarocha Chankimho wasn't just the owner of the university. She was the woman Becky had loved in silence since her first year, and in just a few days, she would see her again. It was already lunchtime when Becky and Irene finally settled down in the cafeteria. The place was crowded, laughter, clinking plates, endless chatter filling the air. Becky sat quietly at their usual corner table, placing her bag beside her chair. Irene glanced at her and smiled knowingly. "You'll have that milk tea with pasta again, right?" Becky smiled softly and nodded. She reached into her bag, pulled out her food money, and slipped it into Iron's hand. Iron frowned instantly. Becky, why do you give every day? Sometimes I can treat you too, you know. Becky shook her head gently. Then she pointed toward the counter, urging her to go. Iron sighed dramatically. Okay, she said, shaking her head with a smile. I'll bring it. As Iron walked away, Becky watched the crowd, students laughing freely, speaking without fear. She looked down at her hands, resting quietly on the table. Silence had taught her patience and longing. Soon, Iron returned with the tray and sat down. While eating, Iron suddenly spoke, her tone thoughtful. Becky, you're perfect at playing the guitar now. Why don't you perform in the anniversary function? Becky froze. Her eyes widened immediately, and she shook her head quickly. No. Iron leaned closer. Please nah, Becky. Do it. Freen will be there. She'll see you. Becky went still, her fingers tightening slightly around her fork. Iron softened her voice. Think about it, she continued gently. Prepare a song, something through which you can quietly deliver your feelings to her. Becky stared down at her plate, her heart pounding. What if she doesn't understand? Iron added softly. Still, you'll have said it. In your way. Becky swallowed. Words had never been her strength. But music had always spoken for her. Her fingers twitched unconsciously, as if already remembering the strings of a guitar. She didn't nod. She didn't shake her head. But for the first time, she didn't refuse either.